of business is citizen communication. We have a number of blue cards, so I will call you up, if I can, as a group or a couple of groups. Nadine Zimmer, Sandy Miller, Courtney Scott, and Nanette Jones, please, as the first group, if you could.
You all.
Hi.
Unfortunately for Packy, it's not a very happy new year. He's still in the same place, in the same small area, languishing for almost 52 years. I am hoping that this year will be better for him than the other 51. It's time that we stopped the tug of war and really made some progress. We know how intelligent elephants are, but intelligence is not the issue. Suffering is the issue. His physical and mental health are the issues. Justice is the issue. You have the ability to override Kim. You can do that. It's up to you to do it this year. And it's just time to end this. There's no reason to continue this battle. And Packy really deserves to have his freedom. You have a good day.
And Madam, you're a Nadine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Sandy? Mrs. Miller? Yep. Sandy.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of the Oregon Zoo elephants and Packy in particular. Most animals in zoos live longer than they would in the wild. They're protected from predators, they're fed, they're cared for. But elephants are an exception. In nature and on protected land, an Asian elephant lives on average 60 years. But in captivity, its lifespan is half that. Of the 28 elephant births at the Oregon Zoo, beginning with Packy in 1962, 8 of the babies died before reaching 2 months of age. 9 more are now dead, and their average lifespan was 20 years. In nature, elephants form herds of 20 or more and walk many miles a day. These are conditions that no zoo could replicate. In the wild, or even in a Burmese logging camp, an elephant calf will nurse for 4 to 5 years. But the Oregon Zoo disposed of 3 of the calves before they turned 3 years old. 2 of those went to Ringling Brothers Circus. And given the hubbub around Little Lily last year, I think we know that Portlanders don't want our elephants to go to the circus. In 1912, a bull elephant in the Bronx Zoo named Gunda, who had attacked his keeper, was kept tightly chained for 2 full years. This led to an editorial in the New York Times calling for, quote, abolition of these prisons for animals. 50 years later, Packy was born here, and for 50 more years and counting, he has lived a very limited life in a sterile and unnatural environment. If the Oregon Zoo really cares about elephant conservation, they should discontinue the costly and cruel confinement of elephants on site and should donate money to habitat restoration in the elephants' native areas. And at the very least, Packy, who has entertained Portland for so long at his own expense, should be retired to sanctuary as soon as possible to end his life in relative peace and freedom.
Thank you. Scott.
Good afternoon. First of all, I just want to mention that I would request a hearing where we are on the agenda so that we can each have more time and bring other experts in to discuss this issue in depth and open this hearing up to the public to really weigh in on Packy's fate and the fate of the other 7 elephants at the zoo. Today it's a new year, and as we sit in this comfortable, spacious room, the 8 elephants at the Oregon Zoo are still spending their days in a cramped yard or indoor barn. They are walking on hard, compacted surfaces that contribute to joint and foot disease, pacing and bobbing their heads, or, in Chandra's case, walking around in circles. According to medical records from a few years ago, Pet suffered from severe foot disease and was euthanized in 2006. Chandra has chronic foot problems. She was diagnosed with classical nail abscess and suffered skin trauma related to Ancus use. Rose, too, has foot problems, including bone fractures. Shine has severe foot problems and has several mentions in her records of copious bleeding after a debriding foot ulcer. She also suffered from numerous Ancus wounds. Packy has chronic problems with cracked nails, lesions, and abscess on his right front foot. Rama has reoccurring chronic ulcers on both front feet. His left front leg is fused at the elbow, and he is intermittently lame. And now he is in quarantine with TB. Zoo vets have admitted they cannot cure foot diseases in elephants, diseases that are unknown to them in the wild. So to continue keeping them and breeding them in the zoo under these conditions amounts to animal cruelty. The new 6-acre on-site exhibit will really, in the end, be much less for the elephants and won't be nearly enough space for doing anything resembling roaming, which is what elephants were built to do. The $53 million spent on this exhibit is not going to do much to improve the lives of these suffering elephants. I suggest it be used for the lions, who could use the extra space, and release all the elephants to sanctuary, starting with Packy. The preserve, or as it is now known, the Remote Elephant Center, has a timeline of 10 years, and the zoo director says the elephants may not even be sent there. I don't know how many tectonic plates would have to shift before the zoo director would be willing to free Packy. But as our elected representatives who have power over the zoo director, you can make that humane decision, just as the Toronto City Council recently did, in the process overriding the Toronto Zoo's objections. The Toronto's 3 elephants are now happily thriving at Paws Sanctuary in California. Packy at 51 doesn't have much time left. Make this a banner year for Packy, a year that could find him in a new home, one that is in a warm climate with acres and acres of rolling hills and 24/7 around-the-clock care. I urge you to override the zoo director's resistance to giving Packy a better life and free him to sanctuary now. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Jones.
Hello, Metro Council. I'd like to second Courtney Scott's request for a Metro hearing so we can open this issue up to the public and get more people involved. A lot of people are really concerned about this issue. I hope you guys all had a nice holiday, and I hope while you were enjoying your variety of food in your warm, tactile environment, you took a moment to reflect on the 8 elephants in your care. Around 1.5 acres of land, and only half of them can sleep inside at night in this cold weather. Now, what if we had a deep freeze like the East Coast? Do we have an evacuation plan and an emergency plan set up for these animals? So I'd like to have this, answered. I would like to know about if there's an emergency evacuation plan after the new expansion. We've seen that it is in a high-risk earthquake zone. My concern is these animals sleeping outside at night when they're already suffering from foot and arthritis problems. This is just going to exacerbate the problem, and the fact that we have Rama in isolation. Where is he? In the broom closet? I don't know where we have room to separate an animal with TB from the other herd and not have him in, a cruel, inhumane situation where he cannot move, and this is going to exacerbate his arthritis as well. So I advocate that we do the right thing for these elephants. I believe 20 zoos have already shut down their elephant exhibits and have relinquished the animals to sanctuary. They're turning their live captivity exhibits into futuristic video, you know, you can have a really dynamic, engaging exhibit where children come in and get to learn the truth about elephants in the wild and the dangers and the hazards of keeping elephants in captivity. It can be engaging on the sense that people like me want to go, okay? And where I will not leave in tears, or children will not leave in tears. Children who go to the zoo now don't even know the name of the elephants. You know, it's not even written anywhere on the walls, their names. They're encaged there. The zoo makes all this money off of them. I would like to see them have some space. Now, yes, the zoo is stepping forward with the proposed 6 acres. Only a partial of that is actually going to go for the elephants. I say we take that money and use it to build a really world-class, dynamic, like computer exhibit, you know, one where the seats rumble and we can have a dynamic round, you know, 360-degree screen, and where the lights go down, the seats shake, and they, you know, teach the truth about the beauty of the world's largest land mammal. And this will be engaging, and you guys could be heroes. We could send our elephants to sanctuary and do the right thing for these guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Shaw?
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Shaw, and I live in Vancouver. I have a letter today from an 11-year-old young lady here in Portland. Dear Metro, keeping Packy enclosed in a zoo exhibit for all his life just isn't right. Elephants in the wild roam many miles a day, while Packy and his family are forced to walk around in the same small area. Please free the elephants in the Oregon Zoo back into the wild or into a wildlife reserve where they can be happy. I understand that the elephant exhibit must bring you money, but tons and tons of people, just like me, value an elephant's life more than a few bucks. The elephant's behavior clearly shows distress, sadness, and anxiety. No one comes to the zoo to see depressed animals in enclosures that do not fit the animal's needs. If you want people to be truly happy with the decisions you make, then do what's right for Packy and his herd. Free them. Free the elephants in the Oregon Zoo from their unacceptable living conditions. But mostly, free them to a place where they can live their lives happily, healthy, and in the wild. Clara McAllister. And I had a few comments of my own that I think now is the time that you could come up and be the big heroes with allowing Packy to go to pause. It would be a financial gain. If he doesn't have TB, they're trying to treat him for it, and I don't quite understand that, what the difference is. And they had to have gotten that from a human, and it can be passed from elephants to humans. It's the same TB. You could make it like, oh, aren't we doing a great thing for Packy? Pause could deal with the TB issue, the foot issue. When he dies, they have to bury him. That's going to happen. I think we should let him go before it does. And then Chandra, she was one of the last wild captured elephants from Malaysia. She doesn't even speak English, for heaven's sakes. The other 2 females born there are the mother and the auntie. They don't communicate with her at all. That could be another boon. Save the money, send Chandra to California, sunny California. Kim Smith, in her response to us, said we should focus on elephants in the wild and give them money. With my income, I give more money than the zoo does to wild conservators, and I think the zoo is obligated to give money. So thank you.
Thank you. Art Llewellyn.